Good afternoon and welcome to Magic Park. Good afternoon and welcome to Magic Park as we are set for the clash here in round 21 of the Northern New South Wales NPL. Broadmeadow Magic up against Kahibah FC. So much on the line for the visitors today as they try and fight their way away from the relegation and relegation playoff zone. It's going to be an interesting clash under grey skies, nice cool temperatures, no excuses not to have attacking football. Chris McPherson bringing you all the action. Alongside me is Harry Scobie. Harry, two teams at two very different ends of the ladder today.
Yeah, certainly right. Obviously, very intrigued to see how today goes. Broadmeadow obviously wrapped up the premiership last week with a win against Cooks Hill, but Kahibah are a team that know how to fight. They'll stick in, and I'm thinking they're really going to put Magic to the test today.
There's a lot, as I said, on the line for them. Survival being the headline. We know that they've got their neighbours, Charlestown Azuri, sitting 3 points behind them. And they don't want to be looking over their shoulder. Azuri in action today as well against Maitland. So we're getting to that business end of the season, and very few teams can rest on their laurels. But the home side here, Broadmeadow, do have that luxury. But coach Jim Kresner has absolutely not rested on his laurels. This is a red-hot lineup he is rolling out today. Very strong indeed, very strong. There is a few on the bench that have played major impacts for the Magic this season in terms of their success. But like you said, Chris, all in all, it is a very strong lineup. And it just shows that Broadmeadow aren't going to rest. And I guess this gives more players good chance to build minutes in the legs ahead of the finals. There's pros and cons to it, isn't there, about resting? But like you said, it's very strong from the home side. Well, that's the challenge. They've found themselves in a position that not only did they secure the premiership last week with that win over Cooks Hill, they now come into back-to-back home games against the 11th and 12th place teams as they stand on the ladder, and then they'll have a week off in the first week of finals. So Jim Kresner's got to balance that piece of getting minutes in the legs of his starters, as you touched on, but also keeping them healthy. So I would suggest if they do get out to a lead either this week or next week, there'll be very quickly a number of players put on ice, say, at half-time. Yeah, for sure. And we noticed that last year towards the back end of Broadmeadow's season where they really gave some of the youngsters a chance. So, yeah, I'd presume, if that margin does grow, you'd see some substitutions introduced. There's plenty of competition for places on the bench. Like, there's some really players that can probably claim their stake in the starting lineup moving forward. Well, the club captain sits on the bench. That's probably a good starting point, isn't it, when we talk about someone who, and he's done that a lot over the last 2 seasons, to be fair to Jeremy Wilson, can ably start in pretty much any side in the NPL, but does a wonderful job as an impact player. But let's have a look, speaking of the teams. I might have a run through Kahibah, and then I'll hand over to you for the Magic, Harry. So, in goals for Kahibah today, an interesting change. Jacob Zissis in 41, and then the outfield lineup is Jackson Lane in 2, Oscar Krakenthorpe in 4, Jaden Keir now in 8, Justin Hutsager in 11, Billy Ike in 21, Shewa Dull in 22, Baden Merton in 25, Robbie Turnbull 33, Matt Homer 34, and Jackson Burston in 42, and they are of course coached by Blair Newham. And from a Magic perspective, 3 Kresners starting today for the starting lineup for the Magic. In goals is Daniel Axford, number 2, Adam Schratt, number 4, captaining the side with Jeremy Wilson on the bench, Thomas Beecham, number 6, Harris Zeb, 9, Lewis Lara Delgado, who's been very crucial for the Magic this season, 10, Bailey Wells, 17, Ezra Palambini, 18, Joseph Kresner, 19, Keone Moore, 21, James Kresner, and 23, Jacob Kresner. It's a pretty attacking lineup from Broadmeadow, plenty of quality there. Yeah, well, as we said, they could have only been more Kresners if they had started Jim as well, but he'll be holding the clipboard in the dugout. Looking immaculately sharp as always. He's got the windbreaker on today, and he's very much got that headmaster, school teacher look, the way he casts his eye. We can see him from our position here. And speaking of headmasters and school teachers, well, school teachers is exactly the career occupation of his opposing manager today in Blair Newham. Yeah, and good to see Blair being on the commentary a few times this season as well. And this Kahibah side, they've had so many challenges away from home and at home there this season at Fred Wright Oval. But all in all, it's a strong side. It's a team that we could tell since the start of the season we're going to be competitive. And I think consistency's been the key for them, which they haven't exactly mastered. But today's a huge test for them. Yeah, they've had certainly, some key injuries, being without Gilles Boss for quite significant periods at the start. And then again today, these different players that have been in and out of that team. They've also had some, shall we say, maybe some disciplinary issues with a few red cards throughout the year that might have been unnecessary. I mean, red cards usually are. But, yeah, that's one of the things that, you know, finding different avenues to goal. Jackson Burston's obviously been outstanding for them. You know, he's been probably the leading light when you look at that side and really taken to this role at Kahibah. But, as you say, they've certainly shown enough to say that they can continue to be competitive, and you think if they stay in the league and manage to keep themselves up, that, you know, over year 2 and year 3, they might, you know, continue to build into being a mid-table team. Whether they could make a leap like Bell Swans have, where we see that they've all but secured themselves into the top 5 now, is going to be the question. So that's it. They've got a big job today against the 3-time premiers, Broadmeadow Magic. Quite phenomenal. That probably hasn't had enough credit and, you know, respect put on it in terms of what they've done. They've won a grand final last year. They've won 3 premierships in a row, and they're absolutely the benchmark. They've qualified for the Australian Championship again.
They certainly are, and I think they've got a really huge emphasis on game by game, and I think they've really mastered that this year. They've been the most consistent team all round, and especially here at Magic Park. And you look at their losses, Chris, and the 2 losses they have had this season have been late goals, near stoppage time, and away from home. So they'll certainly be looking to be strong here at home today.
They certainly will, and they push it forward here. Harris Zeb, a late inclusion, made his debut in one of those losses only a few weeks ago, not that long ago, against Bell Swans out there at Blacksmiths. Came in mid-season across the ditch from New Zealand, and has certainly slotted in nicely here. You don't get handed a starting jersey at Broadmeadow Magic in the current era, or in many eras, very easily. So certainly going to be starring. But here comes Kahibah now, and Dull, a nice little bit of control there. Plays it to Billy Ike, and again through to Dull. If he can pull it up here, he does, but easily taken there by Axford. Promising little build-up there, though.
Certainly was. 2 former players in the Jets Academy combining there, and they've been huge, especially Billy Ike for Kahibah, who's been such a crucial part of their midfield, coming back here in the NPL and trying to prove himself, and I think he's a very creative player.
Certainly is. A little moment there from Oscar Kraken. Thought was giving a moment of hope to Luis Lara Delgado. He won't need to give Luis Lara Delgado 2 offerings. He will take them. As they look here, Baden Merton trying to spread some width. Calling for the ball on the diagonal cross, but it doesn't come to him. Instead, they just work it back to Zissis in goal. Interesting to see that change from Quinn to Zissis. Quinn's held that for the majority of the season, as Ike gets himself across to the left now and combines with that man we're talking about earlier on in Jackson Burston. Burston, 10 goals to his name so far this season.
Yeah, he's had a huge impact on Kahibah's season. A player that sometimes has struggled for service, but certainly scored plenty of goals in crucial moments this year for Kahibah.
Turnbull just drives his forward and gets it clear. Talk about service. That's been a challenge for Kahibah. They've only had 7 players across their squad that have scored goals this season. So not a variety of goal scorers. They are not seeing Daniel Byrne in the starting lineup today. He is the second leading scorer with 9. He'll be out of action all in all today. So when you have a look at that, it is definitely Burston who will be the leading light. They'll be expecting to find the net if they are to somehow get on top in this one. As Magic decided to take it all the way back to Axford, and he'll take his time here. Just play it out to Joey Kresner. And Jacob Kresner going forward. Now moved on, and Moore plays it down the line, and that's a fairly agricultural challenge, I think it'd be fair to say, from Keanu. Free kick to Broadmeadow. Not out of range of creating something here, but it looks like they're just going to move it on quickly. And we're going to have to be very specific here today, Harry. As you said, 3 Kresners out of the 10 outfield players. It's Kresner to Kresner to Kresner. As now they go inside with Zeb, and he almost puts that one into orbit and through into the next postcode in Lambton. Yeah,
it's been a good reaction, though, from Magic. Kahibah with early ball early on, but Broadmeadow then, like you said, coming down the left through Kresner and looking for Zeb out wide, who it's been a good pick up for Broadmeadow. Like you said, Chris, you were spot on in saying you don't just walk into this Broadmeadow Magic starting side, and he's obviously impressed the coaching staff, and from what I've seen, he's a talent to watch.
Certainly is. The ball going to contest, and it goes from Kresner to Kresner. That's Joey back to Jacob, and they push it forward here looking for Delgado. Comes back to Jacob Kresner, And he can't quite control it. Under pressure from Dull. Forces it across the line. It'll be a throw. Mertens will take it. Straight away comes long down the line. Really all right going forward, but Beecham having the height advantage. Takes that one out. And another heavy challenge here. A little bit of push and shove. Tempers flaring. Burston going to ground. The referee's going to very quickly try and nip this in the bud. Tempers flaring early. Robbie Turnbull says there wasn't even that much in it. And Robbie Turnbull would know. He's been around plenty of football.
Well, I'll tell you what, for a game with definitely meaning behind it, but this start and the intense start that it has been incredible. You can hear the Magic fans feeding off it.
And you see Shua Dull come over and just kick the ball away off the mark. Certainly seems to be a lot of meaning in it for Kahibah, and through their physicality, they're drawing Broadmeadow into it, which you sometimes wonder, poking the bear that is Broadmeadow Magic. Oh, it could absolutely pay dividends, but it could backfire as well.
Well, it is a perfect opportunity for Kahibah, especially with the season that they've had, to really take it to Broadmeadow. I couldn't think of a better opportunity away from home, and they're certainly matching the energy early on.
Certainly are. Burston crumbing about out the back there, but Beecham will play it forward, and it comes down from James Kresner, goes back to Joey Kresner, and he'll send it back to Axford. Broadmeadow will be happy to use the full area of this wide Magic Park and bring it across again down this left side. Nothing presenting. Kahibah holding their discipline early in defence in terms of shape. Axford comes out. Ike decides to push forward, and Beecham is released on the right. Burston will track across. Beecham will go long, looking for Zeb, and is headed across the sideline by Hutsager. Hutsager's been a key piece of this side this year. He got their Player of the Year last year in Northern League One, and was obviously a big part of bringing in Gilles Boss that we talked about before, who hasn't been able to get himself fully healthy throughout the season, and it's been a bit disappointing, I guess, that we haven't seen as much of him, because certainly there's a lot of enthusiasm around Boss, but Hutsager's been such a solid piece over the last 2 seasons for the Rams as one of their imports. As this ball just spins off the outside of the boot of Turnbull. Comes down and can't be controlled by Delgado, and it'll go across the sideline in the end for a Kahibah throw. Merton will take the throw, and again looks long down the line, trying to find Burston. Burston gets it around Ike. Does the flag stay down? Yes, it does. He's got some pace, Billy Ike, but so does Kresner, and he'll get in there. And James Kresner will just push that across the byline. That was good defending side to side and managing to corral Ike to the outside, because if he got inside in there, that was trouble.
Yeah, exactly. You could see there were plenty of red jumpers coming down on Ike, and it was obviously Kresner that had the speed to track it down.
So, who will be the target here? You'd have to think Burston and Kraken thought probably the height they're looking at. Maybe a Merton as well. All brought in. And so I was going to try and see who the target was, but doesn't really find a target when you don't get it into play properly like that. Unfortunately for Matt Homer, the youngster, he was picked in, I think, the Australian All-Schools team a couple of weeks ago. Blair was filling us in, so absolutely outstanding playing against his former club here.
Yeah, certainly is, and just on that corner, you could see all the Kahibah players were trying to get as close to Daniel Axford between the net for Magic as possible, and there wasn't too many players there to the edge of the box, so it really focused on trying to put the pressure on the Magic keeper.
Certainly were. A bit of opportunity here down the left flank for Jacob Kresner. Cuts back in. Ball driven long. He wanted a foul there, but the referee says play on. Axford's out of his box. Oh, thought he was going to grab that with his hands for a second there. He kind of leant down out almost on reflex and then realised where he was. Sent long down the line again. It'll be too long here. Merton will track back. He'll have Palambini right on his tail, and he'll send this across the line and out of play. Opportunity here for Magic deep in attacking territory. Jacob Kresner will take the throw. Goes to Palambini, gets the return pass. Tracks back and will send it to his brother in James. James gets Jacob free, but Shua Dull gets a boot in. Palambini picks it up. Now Keanu Moore. It's outside Dull again. Looking for the foul, not to be had. Moore gets a little aggressive in his tackling, but pushes it across the line for a Kahibah throw. There's some passion on the surface. They're just ready to bubble up, Harry.
Yeah, certainly is. There's plenty of fiery players on both sides, and I think that's what we've seen early on in this game. There's some cool characters, but there's also some that, like you said, Chris, pre-match, especially for Kahibah, have let loose on a couple of occasions this season, and some for Magic as well.
Interestingly, we're seeing with some of the Kahibah ones, obviously the meaning of this game for them, as we said, they're sitting in that relegation playoff spot at the moment. The meaning for this game, you can see the way they're addressing their opponents, the way they're addressing each other too. There's a lot of heat in that. And it's good when it's harnessed, but it can quickly fracture too if things start to go against you, and that's when things start to unravel. And we've seen it earlier in the year where they've had red cards when things just start to come unstuck. We saw it in the first game of the season, indeed, for them in the NPL, where I think it was Lewis Hextall from memory that was red carded against Lambton. So now the throw coming to the defensive side. Joey Kresner will unleash Beecham to the right. He's got time and space, and he'll take it on, track up towards halfway. Nothing really presenting, so he comes back across. Burston just pressing a little. Not fully committed to it. Homer's there as well. Will he push across? Yes, he will. Try and close it down and force them back through the rotation through their centre-backs, and Beecham takes it on willingly. Joey Kresner now will push forward. Happy to go to Jacob Kresner. He cuts infield, almost gets it through the legs of Dahl. Shiva Dahl was looking at what was going to happen next and wasn't aware of what was happening right now as Palambini dispossesses him. They go down the line. Dahl gets a clip on Palambini. They play the advantage. Jacob Kresner cuts it into the box. That'll be dealt with here by Krakenthorpe. The young man who, through the late withdrawal of Robbie Turnbull in that game we're talking about, had the honour of becoming the first NPL captain of the Kahibah FC club.
Yeah, and that was a great moment for him. He's had an injury-interrupted season, Krakenthorpe, but already he's been up to the task. I know we're only early in this game, but he's kept Delgado pretty quiet so far. But yeah, a player who didn't get much time at the Jaffers. He's played a bit of midfield, but obviously Blair Newham sensing that the centre-back role is he's to keep this season.
See, the ball floated wide, a little too wide for Harris Zeb from the boot of James Kresner. Now to play again for a Kahibah throw. Just taking their time here, Kahibah trying to find the right option, and they have to go backwards to Hutsager. He feeds it forward. Now the ball comes headed forward. Came down. I was going to say that looked like it might have come off the arm there of Keanu Moore. He tried his best to disguise or smother it, but the handball picked up well by the referee.
Yeah, and I think if it wasn't, there was a potential for a strike there from Palambini. He was potentially lining up a shot.
Now they work it across. Hutsager will pull up here and take his time. He just have a little cup of tea, put his foot on the ball, and then sends it back to Zissis, who comes forward again. And nice turn there from Hutsager just to outfox Bailey Wells. Of course, Wells was a man who last year we thought might have been getting onto the list of Brisbane Roar. He had a couple of periods of trial with them, but didn't quite get over the line, which outside of his size, I can't see why he wouldn't hold his own in the A-League, a player of Bailey's skill.
Yeah, things ultimately didn't work out, but I think this back end to the season for Wells will be so crucial. He's got a big month or so of football ahead of him, back into the mix of the starting side and back with the Broadmeadow Magic, and when he's at his best, he's a very tough play to stop.
Certainly is electric, I think, is probably a fitting word. I mean, you've got him feeding Luis Lara Delgado. It bodes well, and you'd certainly think that Broadmeadow, knowing that they will advance in first place into that major semi-final, realistically, irrespective of the next 2 weeks, they only need to win 2 games of football from there to lift another championship. So with the players they've got there, they'd certainly be warm favourites as the ball goes into the box here. Palambini gets a boot on it. Zissis cleans it up at the left post. That looked dangerous. He was really calm and composed. Zissis there. He just waited to see. Got himself into a strong position. As soon as it came off the boot, he followed and took it. Now Shiwadal gets a little nudge from behind. He seems to be at the centre of everything at the moment, Shiwadal. Whether he's the perpetrator or the respondent, either way, he's getting plenty of attention on both sides of the ball. So Turnbull now over the ball. Sends it long into the box. Beecham's there, the towering presence. He's hobbling out of that, though, Tom Beecham. Just a little knock on the knee, maybe a bit of knee-on-knee contact. They try and feed this in, but the pass from Jackson Lane is broken up and goes out of play. It's a little scrappy at the moment from both sides. Kahibah another throw here. Lane to take it. Homer presenting short. They go into the box to Ike. Gets past Beecham, plays it into the boot, earns them another corner. I want to make sure they make better use of this one.
Yeah, interesting to keep an eye on where the Kahibah players go for this corner, because last time it was just nearly a scramble there in the net and they were putting it on Axford, which Burston looks like he's doing now. Let's see if they can make contact with the ball.
Turnbull, the veteran, over the corner here. Curls it in to the back post. It beats everyone, including Axford, did it? Referee's having a look, and they'll point to a goal kick here. Now they work it out. Kresner. Back to Kresner. Jacob to Joey. To Axford. He looks, thinks about going wide to the right. Decides better of it. Comes to Joey Kresner. Jacob Kresner comes to him. He drives centrally looking for Delgado. Delgado and Krakenthorpe tumble to ground together. And then they go all the way back to Zissis here. And Delgado will head forward with a token half-hearted press. And it's headed backwards. And now Sherritt hobbling. Something going on out there, Harry. Then every second contest, someone comes out of it hobbling, even if there's no actual contact.
It's been the story of this first half so far. Very intense.
Dahl feeds it infield to Ike. Ike tries to float it wide, and it's controlled down by Homer. On for Burston, who has an air swing, and then Jacob Kresner just lobs it forward into a contest. Turnbull picks it out. Sent back the other way by Beecham. Merton now will track back. He's got Palambini pressing on him. Floats it over the top. That's a nice ball. Ike doesn't quite read the bounce, but recovers well. Brought down in the box by Kresner. Burston gets clear in there, but the ball's taken away, and Axford will not hesitate and clears it over the sideline. Promising for Kahibah. It wasn't exactly fluent, but they'll take it nonetheless.
Yeah, if something would have fashioned their chance there, I'm sure they would have taken it. Looks like they might go long from this throw-in, but good spell these last few minutes from the visitors.
Dahl and Kresner of the James variety. A little bit of push and shove in the box there. As I said, both of them, and I think you used the word before, Harry, very passionate individuals, how they're going about their football at the moment. So we'll see what comes of this. Axford will have the goal kick after they watch it across the byline, and Joey Kresner, nothing presenting, goes across in front of his keeper to his fellow centre-back in Beecham, and they're just going to play a little bit of piggy in the middle as Billy Ike pushes forward. And Jacob Kresner cuts back infield away from Dahl. Will push it across to Beecham. They're not exactly having it all their own way, Magic. That is for certain across the first 20 or so minutes of this one. Beecham back to Kresner. Moore has the ball taken away by Keanu. Now Ike gets contact from behind. Thought there might have been a foul in that, but away go Broadmeadow on the break. Wells putting it out wide for Palambini, and Palambini probably needed to be about 7'8" to get that one.
Yeah, I thought there was potential for a break there for Broadmeadow. Wells didn't have heaps of space to drive into, so had to pick out a pass, and sure he'd love that moment back.
Inside a wonderful thing as James Kresner throws himself into the contest here, and the ball falls down. Might be Turnbull. Very circumspect there, just holding out of the contest. Normally he'll throw himself in at a million miles. As Jacob Kresner outbodies Dahl. Now James Kresner sends it forward, and Krakenthorpe brings it down, and Hootsager puts the boot through it. But there's not a whole lot of structure about what anyone's really conjuring at the moment. And just really pot shots and optimistic passes.
Yeah, I don't think either side, as of yet, have had a real good passage or a stint with the ball to really shift it and hold the other team out, especially there in the middle of the park. There's been a lot of balls in the air.
So coming back for the foul here. Burton got sandwiched by 2 defenders, and then they just decided to give him a little bit of extra love and hold on. Referee let it play out, as it looked like Homer might have been making a break in towards the box, and nothing eventuates. So nicely dealt with. So you want to see, I guess, is that advantage being played out. Let them have the opportunity to build it up, and now it'll be Matt Homer and Robbie Turnbull over the ball. The 2 edges of the age bracket, Harry, 18 and 41.
Wow.
Northern New South Wales NPL, it's for everyone. Doesn't matter, young or old. As Homer takes a strike, backed himself, just curled it a little too much away.
Yeah, probably a frustrating outcome considering where the game's at. You know, set pieces, chances have been few and far between, so there was potential to throw that one in the mix. But Kahibah's press, when Magic have been coming out of trouble, has been absolutely relentless.
Sheila Dull dropping the shoulder and putting Jacob Kresner almost into the fence there. There's not a lot of space here at Magic Park outside the boundaries as Ike goes pushing forward. And again, Broadmeadow just backing their defence. Kahibah, let's be honest, haven't shown perfect execution yet from these set pieces at the corners. This is their 3rd time of asking. Matt Homer's 2nd from this right corner. What can he do here? Last time he sat it on the net on the roof of the net. That's probably not where he's going to be aiming this time. But again, you can see from the way that they're structuring themselves here at the corner that they're essentially going for the lottery ball. If we crowd enough bodies in, hopefully something will spill down or we'll find a header and get it deflected in. That's a better delivery at the front post, but Jacob Kresner sees it well away. Lane didn't get enough of it. Ike gets a skewed boot on it, and away it goes well clear of the goals. But that was more promising, and Lane had loved to, you used that term before, Harry, have that over again. Yeah, he would have probably just liked to get his boot through it a bit more. I think he got caught reaching for it. It sat a little short of him.
Well, he actually was in a very good position because with everyone being focused there and in and around the net, if that would have spilt to him in a better position without any pressure coming, he gets a shot away. But Kahibah, like you said, Chris, have had the better of the set pieces.
To be fair, they've probably had the better of the opportunities and the better of the territory so far, but as we know, it's not about who has the most opportunities, it's about who can convert them. Broadmeadow found that out the hard way when they took on Bellswans only a month or so ago as Wells gets into the box, takes a shot. Good save. Zissis gets the hand to it. I thought we were about to call the opening goal.
God, it had some venom behind it and needed a touch from Zissis between the sticks. And he's been solid to start this game, but Magic, here's where they'll send potentially the tall timber forward to get their head on this.
Interesting that they'll leave Beecham behind the ball. Joey Kresner as well. Neither side exactly resplendent with giants, Harry. So a fairly even contest in the box here. Magic, as you'll see, will hold off with some runners. They'll look at the short corner. They curl it in. Zissis was bodied out, but there was good clean-up at the back post. Not completely dealt with, though. Moore will come across to Beecham now. Beecham floats it back up for Keanu Moore. Moore does well to manage to keep it inside. Beats one defender, plays it back. I think he was trying to drop that back maybe for a James Kresner to take a longer strike. Didn't find the target. That was well broken up by Lane. Now Beecham prods it in. Harris. Zeb Harris is there now. Floating in. That's a nice ball. Palambini deflected away. More numbers in red come. Keanu Moore has it at the outside of the box. It's like none of them want to back themselves. They're all trying to lay it off here, Magic. Someone needs to take a strike, create something. Here we go. Fed into the box for Luis Lara Delgado. And then the crumbs. I'm not sure whether the Delgado got it in or whether it was the next piece, but it's not going to matter because it's going to be a foul on the keeper.
Yeah, Kresner eventually turning it home, but the eventual foul, I think it might have been the contact from Delgado when he, tell you what, he had some height about his jump. Nearly out-jumped Zissis, but that's probably Magic's best attack, Chris, and they almost translated that into the opening goal of the afternoon.
I think I'd like to see Broadmeadow, Harry. As I said, there's a lot of them that were kind of looking for someone else to be the one that would, be in a position to take a shot. And Luis Lara Delgado, well, he got himself into that position, got himself up, as you said. Unfortunately, just a bit of contact on the keeper as Shewa Dull throws himself to ground trying to clear that ball forward. Now Jacob Kresner, he's been busy today. Palambini, they've used this left side a lot. Palambini now feeds it in behind. Kresner cleared away, though. That was a nice little neat build-up, and here comes Shewa Dull. He's quick. They're not quick enough as he gets sandwiched across there. Palambini chasing hot on his heels, and James Kresner coming across and closing the space, but it'll be a Kahibah throw. Wouldn't mind having a pedometer on Jim Kresner. He's pacing up and down the sideline. He would not love that his side's battling against his side, sitting 11th. Opportunity here, Matt Homer. Again, just no real power behind the strike. Venom, as you called it before, Harry. That's twice now they've had prime opportunities, almost in identical positions, very different situations. But at least one of those needs to be finding its way to threatening the keeper and forcing a challenging save. And
against a side like Magic as well, it could come back to bite them. Billy Ike again at the centre of everything, creating that chance, delayed the pass nicely. But they need to take those chances.
Krakenthorpe here. Palambini gets to the outside. He should have a yard of pace over Krakenthorpe. Krakenthorpe holds his line and just pushes that across the sideline. And yeah, that young combination of Ike and a Homer, 21 and 18 respectively. That goes to what I was talking about. If Kahibah can stay up this year, this core of players, youngsters, and then those couple of experienced heads in Byrne and Turnbull, they can bring through that next generation. And the future looks reasonably bright. They've built a really good foundation here. It'd be a shame if they were to either go into that, fall into that automatic relegation spot, or alternatively get into the playoffs and find their way down. And there's a whole story with the playoffs. We've seen over the last couple of years, it tends to be that the NPL clubs fight their way up. And a lot of that, I think, as we see Zeb float this into the box. Here's an opportunity over Palambini. I thought he was going to almost matrix himself backwards there. And the ball goes forward. But it sometimes appears, and you've been, like I have, able to see some of those games in the last couple of years, that there's a mystique and an aura about some of these clubs, the Adamstown Rosebuds, the Valentine Phoenix last year, where it gets into that last playoff and the side gets a little shell shock that's coming from Northern League. I don't know that Kahibah will have that same mystique for a lot of the Northern League clubs because they played them last year if they end up in that spot. Yeah, it is an interesting point. I think the focus for Kahibah will obviously be staying up, but if they do happen to face that, they'll certainly have a rough understanding of what they're in for. Obviously last year with Valentine outclassing West Wallsend. But like you touched on earlier, Chris, I like the base that Kahibah are building. I think some of these young players that have really stepped up this season can build it moving forward. Certainly. Jacob Kresner, I'm sure Blair Newham would love to be at the helm of them for a few more years in the NPL, but I also know, knowing Blair, that if they were to go down, he'd be backing them to come straight back up. Yeah, he certainly would. They're a strong side. They're obviously gained some experience there in defence with Krakenthorpe. A young side, but one that will fight, as we can see what they're showcasing in this first 45. Isn't it interesting when we talk about that, and you talk about, you mentioned West Wallsend, who fell just short in the relegation playoff, in the promotion playoff for them, last year. They're now fighting relegation in Northern League One this year. Bell Swans, who only just escaped that playoff last year, and now all but locked into the playoffs this year. It's amazing how long 12 months is in football sometimes. And meanwhile, Broadmeadow just keep winning trophies. But Daniel Axford will play this out now. And again, Broadmeadow just look, they're finding some moments now as they build into this game, but you can see that there's bits of frustration. They're not having it all their own way. And Kahibah, that's something they've done well this year, Harry. They've been difficult to play against a lot. Even when they've gone down in games, they've been difficult. There's no team that's sitting there and just thinking, oh, well, I know I'm going to have it easy and I'm just going to be a walk in the park as I head down there to Gateshead to play Kahibah. Yeah, well, I think a perfect example of that was a couple of weeks ago when they travelled to Crowders Bay to take on Valentine. They were down 2-0 and were able to grab, I think it was 2 goals in 2 minutes just before half-time to pull it back. So they will stay in the fight, but I think there has been moments this year where they've had red cards or moments that have really lost the connection throughout the team, but you can keep 11 on the park and they can be dangerous. Robbie Turnbull clipped and goes to ground. I'm not sure what he's upset about here. He got the foul and now is he upset the referee didn't call it? The assistant referee had to help him? They're a team, Robbie, just like your team. You can't do it all on your own. Well, he might still think he can. I'll tell you what, he's still absolutely holding his own at 41 years of age. That's phenomenal, isn't it? We've got players from 15 to 41 in the NPL. You talked about Valentine and Kahibah, and we would have seen those two age brackets probably come head-to-head in that game. And good to see, well, I think of it as well, Josh Pennington as well, bring up a huge milestone yesterday for the Jaffers. He's got another 100 plus in him. 450?
50.
He could well become the first man, and I don't know what the stats are on this, but I can't imagine there's many that have played 500. I would not be surprised if Pitto goes close to that. It's been outstanding, and many thought it might have come to an end last year with New Lampton getting relegated, but he's returned back to Jaffers, which is so fitting. And I feel that with them officially being eliminated from the playoff contention this weekend with the loss yesterday to Bell Swans, Pitto might feel like there's some unfinished business, and I'm sure he'd like to go out at least in some finals football with Lambton maybe next year, assuming there's a lot of things to play out in that.
Yeah, you'd like to think he still wants to have another crack, potentially, but obviously not the result the Jaffers were after yesterday in his 450th game.
Milestone games have a funny way of playing out like that more often than not, don't they? It's a shame, but it is the way it is. As Wells curls this in, well headed away. Flying over the pack there. Hootsager, he looked like he's one of the shortest ones in the box there, but somehow got up and over. He's got some springs in those legs, the Dutchman. Keanu Moore thought about taking the throw, decided that wasn't his cup of tea, and handed it off, and back they go to James Kresner here. James will pass to his brother Joey, who may well pass to the other brother Jacob. There we go, the family connection. Just don't pass to Jim because he's not in play. Bailey Wells tries a little bit of creative stuff, but Baden Merton cleans that up, and Daniel Axford's getting very adventurous. A long way out of his box there, laying it off to Beecham. The man previously out of the Western Sydney Wanderers Academy. It was one of those questions with how strong they were. As Ezra Palambini pushes into the box, and it's dealt with there. Krakenthorpe getting a boot in and then played forward. Heavy touch by Stuart Dull. Joey Kresner nearly does the splits there, and we play on. Nice ball down the line, bursting for who else but Billy Ike. He's a fan favourite down there at Bill Knight Oval, and you can see why, Harry.
Yeah, been very good to watch him throughout the season. Uses his body really well. Obviously not the tallest on the team, but can really influence the game in terms of his passing. He finds good pockets to pick up the ball. And he's probably one of Kahibah's players that have played majority of the minutes this season as well. He's coming across and making the move and playing a heavy role in this new Kahibah's team.
One of those guys too that's just equally as comfortable. As you can see, he settles into the centre of the sort of attacking midfield. He can play down the flanks as well. We've even seen him sort of deployed almost as a box-to-box wing back there at different points as well this year. They've used him in a lot of different roles, and his versatility is a strength. As Keanu Moore pulls this down, Broadmeadow getting a lot of numbers forward. Jacob Kresner takes on the outside of young Baden Merton, crosses it into the box. It's fairly heavy. It'll come across all the way to Sherritt. Sherritt, his pass ricochets off lane. The two number twos going together, and then it's clubbed over the sideline in the end by Matt Homer. And I think Jackson Lane might have worn that in the one spot that you don't want to wear a soccer ball.
Yeah, and this is better from Broadmeadow. No execution as of yet to show for their pressure in these last 5 minutes, but certainly keeping the ball a little bit better. Kresner out here on the left-hand side. Jacob, to be clear, has been very busy. He's got a huge motor in him to run up and down the line. Cross is always on point as well. So Magic looking the better of the two teams these last 5 minutes or so, but like you said, they need some penetration to follow.
Certainly do. They're getting on top, it feels. But we talked about it before. You've got to take those opportunities. As Shuadol just blocks the attempted pass from Jacob Kresner. Jacob Kresner back to Joey Kresner. James Kresner barking at his brother, telling him to hurry up. That's an interesting one. Beecham offered lots of space, so he'll drive forward, try and play it into the box. He's looking for Delgado, but Hootsager gets the head to it. Now Lane controls it down, plays it wide. And that's an optimistic pass that really needed to be pinpoint from Homer, looking for Burston up front. Now they'll work it through the centre-back pairing. And it's been interesting to see, I guess, the progression of this back line for Broadmeadow, Harry, over the last couple of years. And they've got the experience, obviously, of the likes of Ben Diamond, Will Ingram on the bench, but to see Joey Kresner force his way in and take that spot now alongside Tom Beecham. We've also seen a couple of players depart as well. Ryan Ensor's one of those who went up to Western. And they just keep, Jim Cresner just keeps finding more players that are either centre-backs or he can turn into centre-backs like they did with Ben Diamond. And here they are.
Yeah, recruitment's always been something that Magic have put a huge emphasis on, and Cresner doesn't seem to have too many problems in finding players.
Well, if he doesn't find them, he'll just create another Cresner. Maybe a matter of time, another decade or so, and there might be the next generation of all these Cresners. You could see 9 or 10 of them out in the outfield. They all have 3 each. That's 9. There you go. I'm solving Broadmeadow's recruitment as we go here. Now, speaking of Broadmeadow, they're sending Zeb. Zeb is going forward there. Couldn't quite get on it, though, and then it's clubbed away. And it'll be a Broadmeadow throw in the attacking half. Beecham works the ball across now. Joey Cresner just taking his time. Nothing really presenting as the two of them exchange passes. Keanu Moore chimes in. Still nothing presenting. They're patient, the Magic. Moore will drive now, feed the ball forward. Wells, nice touch, gets the return pass. Popped up, and here comes Bailey Wells coming through, but Zissis reads it well. Got over, got up, and took it in both hands. He's only been called on him for a few key involvements, Zissis, but he's looked absolutely up to the task there and some. Now Magic working back the other way. Cresner looking for Palambini, but Krakenthorpe interjects. Palambini picks up the crumbs. Wells pushes it to Merton. Again, both sides sort of getting back into this, just exchanging of passes, hitting and hoping, pushing it into spaces and relying on a teammate to appear in the right spot.
Yeah, this game's had its moments, but all in all, it's needing a moment of brilliance from one side. We've seen Kahibah hit on the break a couple of times and look dangerous. Magic, up the other hand, haven't really injected Luis Lara Delgado the way they would have liked so far. Kahibah doing a good job of keeping him quiet for now.
Certainly are. Still plenty of time to play out in this first half. And we know how frequently it is, either in or on the cusp of stoppage time, that breakthrough you're talking about comes one way or the other, Harry. You had that experience here on Friday night.
Yeah, unfortunately for the home side in Broadmeadow, going down to Maitland in what was very late drama.
It's thrilling game to watch. Maitland have been the pace setters in the women's competition, the Cardiff Motor Group women's competition. The referee just gets a nice little touch there. See, that one I was okay. There was no Broadmeadow players really in Kiwi that were impacted. The Kahibah player kept possession. Just play on there. I know what the rules say, but just play on. If it's not adversely impacted, we don't need to come back because it just disrupts what people have come here to watch, which is a team in green and a team in red to go toe-to-toe, and they're doing exactly that at the moment as Beecham challenge there. Keanu coming through. Merton brings it down nicely. Shuadal's going to get double-teamed here by Moore and Cresner, and then he just gives them a pass that was theirs for the taking. Delgado hits the accelerator, trying to get around Krakenthorpe. Lays it off for Jacob Cresner. Cuts into the box. That's a nice turn from Jacob Cresner. Couldn't get away from Merton, though. Oh, Huskers Krakenthorpe. That is not what he was trying to do. That looked like a pirouette that would have been fitting for, maybe Strictly Come Dancing on one of those shows.
Yeah, he got away with it in the end, but it was I tell you what, he probably would have preferred having that up the other end rather than in his defensive box. Luckily got away with it, though.
Well, it might be one of those dance moves he learnt from former teammates and our fellow commentator Matthew Butte, and that looked like a Butte sort of move. Lovely pirouette. Light on his feet. Not normally a strength of, a go-to thing of centre-backs, more the guys at the other end of the field. Light on your feet, so maybe there's time for Crackers to go back to the midfield or further forward at some point in his career, but he's doing a pretty good job at centre-back, barring that blemish. Meanwhile, Harris Zeb plays it across now. James Cresner to Joey Cresner. Joey pushes it firmly to Beecham. That bounced up awkwardly. Well controlled by Beecham. The captain plays it back. Kahibah doing well. They've held their shape really well throughout this half. That's where we know Broadmeadow like to just try and use it across the back line, wait for a misstep from someone and all of a sudden pounce. Kahibah haven't offered them a lot of those opportunities. Jacob Kresner now will take the throw. Goes back to his brother James. In they go now, and that was a misdirected pass. Burston puts it out in front of Matt Homer. Matt Homer with a little deft pull-up and then touch outside of Sherritt. Watch Billy Ike appearing at the back post here. They fall it in. Beecham gets a boot to it. Harris coming back and gets a touch on it outside of Sherwood Dull. Ike will try and corral him back towards his defensive unit, and Jacob Kresner, a pass that Dull takes. Ike's touch is too heavy. Now Keanu Moore into Keanu. That's confusing. And they break free. Here's danger. Bailey Wells on the run. Flying it down the line to the right to Palambini, who switched sides now. Palambini, a little cut move against Lane. Tries to feed it through two defenders. Hootsager gets a boot in. Lane comes away, and what was probably the most promising flowing attack of the game so far is broken up for the time being. But they come again here, Magic. Looking for Delgado. Turnbull, the veteran, gets in there. Krakenthorpe sets it free for Dool. Shewa Dool feeds it forward to Burston, who is squeezing between two Kresners. Comes away with it. Homer floats it over the top. Well done, Joey Kresner getting ahead to it, just breaking it up a little. Now it sits back in the pocket for Dull. It's like someone's all of a sudden hit fast forward on this game. Billy Ike. Ike dispossessed. Appeals for a handball. Didn't really look like one. Palambini brings it down, and now Sherritt. My goodness, I need a breath.
This game is... That passage there was the most end-to-end it's been. Like you said, Chris.
Might not be done yet. Wells for Delgado. Delgado, watch him, danger at the edge of the box, fires a shot through a couple, and just casually falling to his right. This is just leans down and takes it.
And it gives both teams a chance to catch their breath. It's been an enthralling end to this first half.
It's frenetic, wasn't it? As I said, we almost need a breather up here just calling it. Contest now, and Keanu comes down, takes it away, but then it's pushed forward by James Kresner. The flag goes up against Delgado, just a little too enthusiastic and got the jump early. This is out to take this. Ball comes down. Jacob Kresner for James Kresner. It's wide to Palambini. He's happy to drop it back to Sherritt. Now Beecham will work it across. Joey Kresner for Keanu Moore. Managed to get the turn away from Burston. Ike arrives, forces the pass to Beecham. Now to Sherritt. Beecham again. Captain happy to take his time. Sent down the line by Jacob Kresner, fighting his way back. Merton has to push it across the byline. He would have liked that a little more angled and across the sideline. But Magic now with a corner. Is this the opportunity, Harry Scobie?
Well, Kahibah really have to dig in now. A set piece right before half-time. And this is the moments where, despite a much improved first half against Broadmeadow, they really need to hold out here.
Short corner. Jacob Kresner. Wells feeds it into the box, blocked away. Jacob Kresner tight to the byline, feeds it in again and just pushed across the byline. Krakenthorpe, the man at the front post there. He blocked away both attack advancing forward opportunities there. And again, they go the short corner. Jacob Kresner for Bailey Wells. Wells gets to the outside of Dull. Dull throws himself over the ball. Jacob Kresner now. Jackson Lane does well. Good pressure. Well defended by the two men there from Kahibah. And now they're looking to go on the break. Matt Homer breaking down the left side. And that's where they're going to try and feed the ball. But Beecham read it like a book. Although Burston comes across with it. Now in behind. Homer chance. Can he get it first touch? Joey Kresner blocks him out. This is good defence both ends. Seen some good attack unfold, but both defences have been up to the task. Now back to Turnbull. He's got time and space. Shewa Dull's out the back, and they can float it forward to him. Burston look for the touch on, and Wells just need a little more heat on it from Jackson Burston there. And both defences there, Harry, absolutely stood up when called upon.
Yeah, exactly. It was Kahibah who went from defence to attack straight away, and good little passage of play. I thought Homer might have taken the strike First time.
Again, I think it comes down to that defensive. Joey Kresner just got himself on the outside shoulder. He would have been a really hard shot to try and get away on the right boot. Would have had to take it on his weaker foot, Homer. And there is that man, Joey Kresner, and he brings it down right in front of our position. Right in field for Keanu. Off the shoulder, says the referee. And I'll tell you what, he was closer than anyone else, so he was in prime position to call that. Now the ball fed forward. Ike. Return on for Merton. Merton brings it down, and Jacob Kresner gets in, and Harris Zeb now away. Matt Homer, a little jersey tug. Referee lets that one go. Harris Zeb gets a turn, pushes away again. Wonderful there from Harris Zeb, just playing the whistle, and then Lane just a body shot on Luis Lara Delgado. I love it when that happens, and then they look perplexed that they've been called for a foul.
Well, he needed to be tight there to Delgado, who loves picking up the ball in space. Obviously a little bit too ambitious there in the end. But this back end of this first half, starting exactly the way it started, the energy is still high. And both sides just looking for the breakthrough.
Certainly are. Delgado pops it back into the pocket as James Kresner laces it out wide to Sherritt. Has to track back a little, controls it well, into Wells. Wells now. He'll look to feed it into Delgado. Hutsaga. The two imports go toe-to-toe, the Mexican and the Dutchman. The Dutchman comes out on top. Now Magic, well, they look the long throw here. Sherritt to take it. Delgado presents short. Keanu Moore sitting deeper down, and he throws it over the top instead. Lane again, stepping up to the mark, loses his footing. He's lucky that the referee called that when he did, because he was about to reach for that ball, and that could have been absolutely disastrous. You very much got to play the whistle, not assume things. However, all's well that ends well for the Rams. So Zissis now sends his team forward. Happy to manage the clock down as we get towards the dying stages of this first half. Well, the referee heard me. He says that will do us, and we are all locked up at 0-0. There's been opportunities at both ends, but neither side able to capitalise. It's been a cracking first 45 minutes, Harry. If you're the two coaches, what are your messaging at half-time either way?
Well, look, Broadmeadow, Jimmy Kresner will know that they're going to get a sniff in this game. I think it's about taking their chances. For Kahibah at the other end, Blair Newham would probably just say more of the same, but maybe a bit of penetration further in attack. But they are in this game. You can see their away fans that have travelled here in full support. It shapes up for a great second half.
It certainly does. But we'll take a short break here ahead of the second half. We'll be back with you in about 10 minutes. Don't go too far. Remember, your Northern New South Wales YouTube channel is the home of all your first-grade men's and women's NPL action, live and free every week. We'll be back with the second half. Broadmeadow 0, Kahibah 0 here in round 21 NPL.
Celebrations at 3:30 p.m. onwards. Please join us at the Blackbutt Hotel, Orchardtown Road, New Lambton.
love you. Oh, you're so squishy. I love you.
It's a big responsibility.
Yes, you are big.
Your heart and your head don't always agree.
Ah, like Hayes, good deal. Boring, yes.
I love it.
Let's make an offer. Oh, let's think this through.
But there's one thing they can agree on. With local expertise, great rates, plus a highly rated app, Newcastle Permanent is good for your head and good for your heart.
responsibility.
Yes, you are big.
Your heart and your head don't always agree.
Ah, like Hayes, good deal. Boring, yes. I love it! Let's make an offer. Oh, let's think this through.
But there's one thing they can agree on. With local expertise, great rates, plus a highly rated app, Newcastle Permanent is good for your head and good for your heart.
Hello and welcome back to the second half here. Magic Park all set. This battle to continue. Locked at 0-all at the break between Broadmeadow and Kahibah. Absolutely in the balance as we see the two teams make their way back out. Doesn't appear to have been any changes on either side just yet. Be interesting to see when they do go to their benches. Chris McPherson and Harry Scobie bring you all the action. And Harry, that first half had some real highs. It had some lulls as well. And you would feel that both teams probably think they've got a little bit more and a couple more levels to go to here in the second.
Yeah, it was action aplenty, wasn't it? It's interesting to see as this second half progresses, I guess, who gets the dominant hand, because I feel like both teams had spells in that first half but weren't able to capitalise. Will this be a game that's decided by the solo goal, or will it be, I guess, a more opened up game? We'll find out. But we know where Broadmeadow sit, they know where they sit, and I'm expecting them to come out with a bit more intensity in the second half.
Yeah, it'll certainly be interesting to see that. And the one ace that Jim Kresner holds up his sleeve, that depth on his bench as the players start to fatigue in this second half could be a huge asset. Kahibah will undoubtedly know that they need to strike and strike early in this half if they want to try and get on top, just because of that reason alone. As Kahibah send this over the sideline to start, and they're going to try and wind up and come long down the line for Delgado. Hutzager wins out, clubs it forward, looking for Burston. Joey Kresnick gets him by a step of pace, forcing his way back down, plays it down the line and forces it out over the sideline. It'll be a throw into Kahibah. Burston and Kresnick exchange a few words. Kresnick gets up hobbling after the challenge. Certainly been a willing first 45, and I don't expect that the physicality will drop off anytime soon as Keanu spins in between three Broadmeadow players, drops it back down the line to Lane. Lane will slide it across to a travelling Robbie Turnbull. And will head across to the right and send it straight back down the middle, finding Shewa Dull, who plays it nicely out for Billy Ike. Ezra Palambini gets up, and it was almost a karate kick there, Harry, to push it across the sideline.
Yeah, already in good intent shown from the visitors.
Yeah, Dull again, turning inside Jacob Kresner, gets towards the edge of the 18-yard box. Kresner slides in, and it's pushed away. Not completely dealt with, though, as Lane probes it forward, gets it returned, back down the line now. Plenty of movement, plenty of action and energy coming from Billy Ike, as always. Hutzager will send it back to Zissis. Return pass, and now Hutzager will travel. Floats it up, looking for Shewa Dull, sneaking in behind. Couldn't quite weight it on the right line. Billy Ike and Harris Zeb going toe-to-toe. Ball falls for Kahibah. The flag goes up, though. Burston was a step offside before he tracked back there. Kresner now working it across. To Kresner. To Moore. There we go. A little bit of variety. You just start to toy with the Kresner, and get tongue-tied and spun in circles. I get dizzy, Harry. Keanu Moore plays it forward. Bailey Wells gets clipped, and the advantage is played. Opportunity into the box here for Palambini. Krakenthorpe across him. Jacob Kresner plays it in. Turnbull reaches for it. Keanu Moore plays it down. The referee says there was enough advantage there. And breaking down the field. A little clip after the fact there. This will be advantage. I think they'll come back to that one because that was definitely a collision that probably could have been avoided. Very physical here. Just trying to work out, we have had a change at half time as well. Just trying to get confirmation and identify who the player is that's come on, because if you notice that James Kresner's got the captain's armband at the moment. So it is Ben Diamond who's come on for Beecham. So I wonder if that's precautionary. Well, we did see him take a knock early in that first half, and whether he's just decided, again, with an eye towards what is 3 weeks' time by my maths.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Resting up Beecham, and that's the next match that will have real magnitude in terms of the result for Broadmeadow. They could play that game in 3 weeks' time, win that, and they're through to the grand final. So in the meantime, they've got a corner here, and this could be the opportunity to go ahead and further add an exclamation mark.
Two magic plays here on the edge.
Opportunity. Oh, gets over Zissis. Well saved on the line. Is that Ike with the header in the end? Now Turnbull. And we get a foul there. Krakenthorpe taken out by Palambini.
Defensively, very solid today, Kahibah. Everything that Broadmeadow have thrown at the Kahibah defence has been handled very well, especially from set pieces. They're usually such a strong side, Broadmeadow, but Kahibah will know they have to stay in this contest for the full 90.
Zissis now goes with the long clearance. The one thing that will raise a little bit of concern on that set piece, if you were a Kahibah fan, is that corner clearly cleared a leaping Zissis, and it was only through some scrambling defence at the back post they managed to get it off the line. It's fair to say he's not the most statuesque of keepers, and although he is giving an absolute spray here to Baden Merton, because that ball was just trickling away and the corner could have been saved. And undoubtedly Zissis might have a little bit of post-traumatic stress disorder from that last one where Billy Ike was at the back post and saved his bacon.
Well, there was no urgency or reaction at all there from Merton to try and keep it in. It now presents another great opportunity for Broadmeadow.
He's normally an absolute workhorse, Merton, so this one curled in. This time Zissis up to it, reads it, takes it in two hands above his head nice and cleanly. The skipper gives him a pat on the back for that one as well as he runs past Robbie Turnbull. So now sent long. Clears Homer. Pushed forward by Moore. Palambini running on an advanced line. He's dispossessed and Jaden Keanu comes away with it. They pop it back into the pocket for Turnbull. Sending it forward for Burston, alone solo up front. Heads it down to his own advantage, prods it forward. Homer racing away here against the youngest of the Cresners, turns him inside out. Feeds it back now to Lane, nothing presenting up forward. And then well read by the one and only Bailey Wells. Plenty of physicality, Harry. Neither team shy in going body on body over the ball.
Yeah, it's pretty much a carbon copy of that first 45 that we saw. I think Magic is starting to settle into it a little bit more.
Here's an opportunity. Delgado, good sliding tackle from Krakenthorpe there. It's a real high risk, high reward strategy coming in sliding on the edge of the box like that, but when you stick it, saves the bacon. Here we go now, coming into the box, just trying to weave his way through all the defenders is Palambini. It's pushed forward by Stuart Dull, brought down by the Englishman in Diamond. He sends it wide now to Sherritt. Sherritt will take his time here as Burston tries to close him down. Trickles a pass that really forced Harris Zeb towards him. A fairly gentle foul then, I think you would describe it as.
Well, Lane was away, and interesting to see that one back because Zeb was obviously well dispossessed off the ball.
Now Wells on the right. He'll look to play it to his own advantage or utilise a teammate. He cuts back. Drops it back to James Cresner. Pushes it into the middle for Keanu Moore. Wells presents. Delgado sniffs it away. Now Zeb plays it out to Sherritt. He almost looks surprised that came to him there. Feeds it in well, headed down, and Zissis on the bounce takes it. Again, it's been the story of today. A little more venom might have been nice. Homer plays it forward for Burston. Burston trying to body up against Joey Cresner. Cresner does well, breaks free of him, and will send it back to Axford. Shiwadal will push up and press here and force him to take a clearing kick. That's good pressure there from Shiwadal, just pushing and pressing up, forcing a rushed clearance. Sager wins out there, and it comes to Turnbull onto Krakenthorpe. Delgado not happy with the tackle. A linked arm in arm, though, and they were giving as good as they got. Now Joey Cresner, he's been busy in the back line today. He plays it across to Sherritt. Across to Cresner as well. Now back. Pass that really forces Ben Diamond to scurry wide to take it. He just returns it back to Joey Cresner. Teammates calling him to carry it forward. Sherritt. Zeb pulls up. Feeds it in. That's a nice ball for Delgado. Moore That's some good ball movement from the Magic. Bailey Wells. Stuart Dull takes it away, passes it on to Homer. The youngster going down the left, cuts it back inside James Kresner. Moore comes in heavily. There was some half-hearted appeals from the Magic bench. And Stuart Dull gets after James Kresner. James Kresner gives him a piece of his mind, and Stuart Dull goes straight back at him. He's not backwards in coming forward, young Stuart Dull, is he?
It's those two that have probably set the tone throughout this whole match for their respective clubs.
Hootsager, there's a little jersey pull there from Joey Kresner. Kahibah appealing for it. Burston now pushing forward. Feeds it into the box and well dealt with. For Axford and gets it clear. They're quick to move it on the Magic.
Well, it's anyone's game for the taking if they can unlock a defence. Magic have certainly grown into this second half. They're starting to use Bailey Wells a little bit more on the ball. But Kahibah out the other end, when they've broken forward, they've looked dangerous.
Hootsager there. It's in the back, I think. Oh, my. Really high. I thought there was a shoulder in the back of Harris Zeb there, so... Come back for a handball instead. So Zissis goes long. James Kresner throws himself into that one. It spills out to the left now for Palambini. He's got time and space. He'll take it on the outside. Merton's got a decision to make defensively here. He leaves the inside man open. Jacob Kresner now a little heavy with the touch. And it goes into the fence. Probably paid off better than Merton could have hoped. Need to make a decision and almost got caught between a rock and a hard place there. So Zissis now. Now headed down in front for Stuart Dull here. That was a nice placement by Keanu. Dull with a turn, comes away, gets clipped. Jacob Kresner on the ground, and now the referee will go to his pocket.
Well, Blair Newham's been pretty animated throughout this contest. And again there, when Dull went to ground, he was the first one to be up on his feet because he senses that Kahibah are really starting to get on top. And this is probably one of the trickiest places to come for an away side. And they have matched it with Magic.
They've gone toe-to-toe. I mean, Jacob Kresner really doesn't have an argument there. I'm not sure why he was trying to argue with the referee. You're laying on the ground and you lift your boot as a player tries to leap over you. In general play with the ball not in contest, yellow's the baseline there. And now a dangerous dead ball opportunity here. Turnbull, the experienced man over the top. The Kahibah faithful behind the goals there, making some noise, trying to put Axford off. It's curled towards the back post. Diamond comes in, clatters it away with the head. James Kresner will race over trying to keep it in the field of play, but it won't happen. It'll be a throw-in for Kahibah. Merton will race down. He was the one remaining defender back beyond halfway, and he'll go down now to take the throw in a dangerous attacking territory. He's going to wind up and he's going to take the long throw. He does. Again, they'll have the throw here. Merton will wind up looking long. Pinballing around. Kresner gets it away for now. Robbie Turnbull skims over the top of the ball. Homer came in thinking he was going to get a strike. That one spun away awkwardly and fell perfectly for Delgado. And now Broadmeadow on the break with Sherritt. Sherritt gets a shoulder-to-shoulder contest. I think he added some sauce to that. Delgado grabbed the leg of Jackson Lane. Oh, we're going to come back here for the contest on Sherritt. I think the referee's just starting to accumulate the numbers now, and the cards are going to start to come. Delgado was probably lucky not to get one here because he pulled the leg of Lane.
Yeah, I think if there was no initial contact before that from Billy Ike, Delgado probably would have being deemed to give away the free kick there.
I'm intrigued as to why the free kick's where it is here, though, if we're going back for the previous foul. Anyway, we carry on. Jacob Kresner carving his way through the Kahibah defence. Plays it now for Wells. Oh, Wells a little faint. Harris Zeb didn't know that was the play. It's left stranded. Good step in there from Turnbull. Just took his time. Gets it out in front of Shewer-Dull. Jacob Kresner very aware there. He went to put his hand on Shewer-Dull. Decided better of it. The yellow card's going to dish it. Oh, that's a nice ball for Matt Homer. He cuts it away from goal, though. Now Burston feeds it along the ground. That seemed more optimistic than designed. And now Kahibah will track back. That was promising.
Yeah, that ball in behind from Dole was inviting, to say the least. And the first touch from Homer probably took him away from goal. Obviously on a tight angle, but that little break there from Kahibah was a good one.
Had the touch been otherwise, I think he might have been absolutely backing himself against Daniel Axford. He's got a rocket of a boot if he can put it through it. Jackson Burston. As we said, the only man in Kahibah colours in double digits this year. Lane's header just deflects that a little bit. Merton. Oh, Palambini was sniffing at his back pocket. Almost came away with it, but it'll be a throw in here deep in attacking territory, and all of a sudden Magic trying to turn it up a notch. Jacob Kresner floats it in. Krakenthorpe calmly sees it away. Ike drives it down the line here on the right. Jacob Kresner, I'm not quite sure what he's doing there. I think he's a play on at this point. Everyone's throwing their arms in the air, want the referee to make a decision. There's none to be made. Play the whistle.
Lovely ball.
Still the best part of half an hour to play, and now Homer set free. If he can put it out for Burston, that was asking a lot of Burston. He just needed to feed it almost directly straight down the middle of the field. Axford will play it out now. Keanu Moore. Both teams just, when they get to that key position, seem to be having rushes of blood and not always making the best and cleanest of decisions. Kresner sends that long. His shin pad coming flying out while it's happening. Flag goes up, and
I wouldn't be surprised if there's fresh legs introduced shortly as well. At what end, I'm not sure, but with the tempo that this game's been played at, I think both teams have worked extremely hard. Obviously, Magic will have an eye on preserving some of those plays with the finals ahead of them, but looks like Kahibah will make their first change.
Maybe Elliot Paksek to come on. Baden Merton's made way.
And Magic are trying to create confusion in switching Zeb and Palambini from side to side, just to cause Kahibah's fullback some danger. So we've seen that already throughout the game, and I'm sure they'll continue to do so. But Paksek, good player, but it's got a huge task on his hands to keep this Magic defence at bay. Attack, sorry.
Ball goes long from Krakenthorpe to Shewer-Dull. Dull, love to have that touch again, but Magic now with the throw. Jacob Kresner wastes no time in getting it into Ben Diamond. Diamond's got time on his disposal, though. Now he comes across, Joey Kresner. Just happy to go back to Diamond. Now he goes to Keanu Moore. Plays it forward, little 1-2 with Harris Zeb. Gets away from one, beats a second, beats a third, almost beat a fourth. And the fresh legs step in.
Yeah, very tricky play with the ball, isn't he, Zeb? Since arriving at Broadmeadow, we've seen great patches of brilliance.
Here he is again. Feeds it wide, looking for Palambini. Wells, back to Palambini, back to Wells. Moving around, just a misdirected pass, looking for James Kresner, and Lane steps in. You can feel Temperatures continue to build, and there's going to be something that breaks out with a goal, or maybe a bit more of a rash decision. Now headed forward by Sherritt, just trying to break up the Kahibah attack. That Kahibah then send it back with an optimistic pass. Doesn't find a green jersey, finds a red one instead. Now, Joey Kresner. Ben Diamond plays it forward now. Delgado dropping deep, looking to get more touches on the ball and more involved. More finds Delgado again. He's got a little bit of space here. Plays it out for Wells. Wells onto Delgado. That's a nice little combat. Delgado takes a strike. He fancied himself there. He was the difference when they played back in round 10. Got the double. Thought he might have been the man to make an impact there, but couldn't quite get it on target.
Yeah, they found great pockets there, Broadmeadow. And it was Delgado, like you mentioned, dropping deep to try and combine with some midfielders, and it's probably a little bit off balance with that last shot, but it shows a great sign of intent from Broadmeadow, and Delgado, who had a pretty quiet first half, has certainly been more dangerous in this second.
Pushing into the attacking third now, Sherritt. Drops it back to Kresner, James Kresner. Ben Diamond pushing up to halfway. Takes it on and travels. Sends it down the line to Jacob Kresner. Playing wide on that left. Harris Zeb. Back now to Diamond. Patient build up from the Magic. Keanu Moore. Sends it back and is turned over. Bursting comes away with it. Now Ike. Homer trying to get down to provide another option. Ball gets sent behind him. He has to pull back for it, which gives Sherritt a chance to retreat. But Bursting gets the ball in front of him now. Will he strike or cross? He'll feed it into the chest of Diamond, who just shepherds it across the byline, and it'll be a corner here. And they're just one step off with some of that passing, Kahibah. If that ball had been able to set free in front, could have been a very different narrative coming forward.
Yeah, they certainly had the numbers. They probably did that attack in the way that they probably wouldn't have liked. It looked like they had the advantage going forward. And now presents another corner for the visitors. And you can see their bench is lifting off that as well.
Magic, speaking of benches, I've got a couple of changes getting ready here. Got Regan Jose. And Ezekiel Marnes, the youngsters coming in. Jose, of course, made his debut just after they sealed the championship. His starting debut just after they sealed the championship last year. As Turnbull goes the short corner. Ike back to Turnbull. Almost drills it into the next postcode. Mishit that, and Delgado will be away. Now they go forward and push the ball centrally. Deflected there. Kahibah getting some bodies in, and Ike again is involved. Lane takes a little turn away from Palambini. Turnbull, misdirected pass picked off by Sherritt. Turnbull starting to get a little frustrated. Ball down the line here, looking for Palambini. Well blocked there by Hutsager. Here come the changes. As I said, it will be Marnes and Jose. And unsurprisingly, a couple of their prized assets in Palambini and Wells will make way.
Well, you can see that shows signs of more injection potentially. Mearns obviously a very quick player off the mark. Jose will add that calmness in the middle of the park. Good chance for those two players to stand up for Magic when they really need them.
Delgado's having to take his watch taped on his wrist. Strange, he's been forced to take it off now, and he's had it on the whole game, but now Sherritt goes backwards. Joey Kresner now. The diamond. Sherritt calling for it. Joey Kresner plays through. Marnes. Joe's trying to inject themselves. Now pushed forward. Jones deflects it down. Falls for Hutzager. Turnbull plays it in now. Keanu, nice touch there. Ike pushed wide for Shuadul. Dool crosses it in, looking for the back post, but Jacob Kresner reads it like a book and picks it off. Now Homer controls it down, tracking back, sits it for Krakenthorpe. Now working across the Turnbull. Got Lane with him if he wants him, and that's where he goes, pushing wide to the left here. Now Shuadul. James Kresner takes it away, dropping it back to his brother Joey. And Turnbull prods it wide, and it'll go across the sideline for a throw in here in Broadmeadow's favour. Now turning with Burston putting the pressure on is Joey Kresner. Across to Diamond. Diamond happy to take on some space and time. Plays it forward to Delgado. Now Keanu Moore. James Kresner. Delgado making a run. They go wide here now. Zeb cutting infield. Playing it into the box of Delgado. Dangerous time and position. Jacob Kresner. Cuts back. Under pressure here from Paxek, but can't get clear of him. Turns again. Floats it into the box. Arriving is Mards. It beats him and Jost. Delgado will arrive. Can he control it? Goes into a collision. Matt Homer now will take it down the line. Send it long, looking for Burston. Great last line defence and some good fortune there, saving Kahibah's bacon. And now we have a free kick against Joey Kresner.
Yeah, again, another period in this game where it's starting to come alive. Burston there being heavily marked by Diamond, and looked like if Burston was to get that one to ground, he could have potentially found a teammate to try and start a counter-attack, but
Homer floating it into the box. Headed off by Diamond. Hit on the volley across the face. That was a prime opportunity. It would have been a stunning goal from Shuadul if he'd hit it, but not to be.
Made great connection with the shot, didn't he? And it looked for all money like it was going to trouble Axford, who looked pretty calm the whole time that it was sailing wide of the post.
Now Broadmeadow. Harris Zebb's conjured a pass back through the legs of Shuadul somehow there, and now Jacob Kresner returns it to Keanu Moore. Moore to Zeb. Zeb, a beautiful turn and touch to take it away from Keanu. Travelling down. Paxek gets a boot to it, but doesn't really disrupt. Now they play it forward again. Zeb leaves it behind for Delgado. Will he take the strike? Yes, he will. But just didn't have enough punch in it to trouble the keeper in Zissis. And that has been the narrative of the day, especially at this southern end of Magic Park.
Yeah, would have took something special there from Delgado. Certainly worth an effort. Just was hoping to make better connection with the ball.
Inside the final 20. Time ticking away for both sides. Can someone land the killer blow, or will it be a share of the spoils here in the penultimate round of 2026? Northern New South Wales NPL, of course. You're tuning in on the Northern New South Wales YouTube, your home of the men's NPL First and Reserve Grade and the Cardiff Motor Group Women's NPL First and Reserve Grade. Live and free every game all the way through to the grand finals, Harry. Every women's games with commentary. Plenty of the men's with it as well. What more could you want?
Yeah, it's an exciting time, isn't it? So much football as we approach the back end of all seasons. We had the Regional Super League finals yesterday at Coff City Coast Synthetics. And great weather for it as well.
They work it now. Burston just clears that miles away to Paxak. just hacked at it and got it away to space. They've got time now. He'll fire it in. Opportunity in the box. I couldn't control it, though. I wonder if and when Blair Newham might look to some more reinforcements and refreshments for his team. Marnes gets it back. Now plays it down the line, looking for Delgado. It's been a good battle between Delgado and Hutsaga. Jose now, he'll push forward. Looking to feed Delgado. Turnbull sets Burston free. Shewa Dole's trying to get some space down the right. A good pass from Burston, finds it right in front of his feet. Jacob Kresner arrives. Now played down and good tracking back. Ben Diamond showing every little bit of his experience there, the Englishman. Cleaning up the crumbs at the back.
Yeah, Kahibah have had moments like that where they've had multiple players committed forward, but I think their final option and pass hasn't been the right one.
Harris Zeb playing it wide now. Marnes. Well defended there by Lane. Stayed composed, got in front, got the boot in and pushed it across the sideline. Sherritt will meander his way down and take this throw. Time ticks down. Still time for a few twists. We haven't seen any twists or turns yet. Still locked at 0-all. Been an enthralling battle. You'd be forgiven for not realising this was first place 11th in a 12-team league. Away go Kahibah. Shewa Dole charging down. Matt Homer, the Australian schoolboy, tearing away on the other flank, looking to create an option. Plays it through the legs. Burston takes a strike, puts it over the crossbar. Did it take a deflection? Yes, it did. And here comes another change for the Rams. Kahibah will look to introduce Isaac True. Jaden Keanu makes way. Robbie Turnbull will progress over to take the corner. It's fair to say Kahibah haven't been the most efficient at the use of dangerous set pieces so far today. They've had a few chances. Could this be the time that this changes? They push up. They get plenty of numbers. 8 in the box. Left short at the front post, Jacob Kresner. True, first touch of it, headed towards the goals. Spills about in the box and then cleared long. Keanu Moore, Lane plays it down. Hooks it high into the air and it's headed away. Marnes now Delgado. Out wide on the right, plays it in. James Kresner pushing forward. Floats it up over the top. That's a nice ball. Marnes in time, with time and space, getting into the 18-yard box. Can he feed it? Takes a shot himself. He had two players arriving at the back post in Harris Zeb and Jacob Kresner. He decided to take a shot himself and didn't challenge Zissis, who, to be fair, has been close to faultless today, Harry.
I was just going to mention, been incredible in replacing Isaac Quinn. Been up to the task. He's been alert to everything and seems a pretty cool character as well.
Certainly composure would be one of the words I'd use to describe him. Nothing seems rushed, hurried. Sometimes see keepers stepping into early in their career into the NPL and they're quite nervy. This one's played in the box here. James Kresner arriving. Matru, fresh off the bench, sends it sailing over the sideline. Another blemish avoided as we get well into the final 15 here at Magic Park. NPL round 21 in the Northern New South Wales competition. And this has been an absolute belter. Jose feeds it wide. Sherritt. Marnes. Lane gives him a little nudge. Not enough to constitute a foul. Marnes seems frustrated by that. But it was shoulder to shoulder, pursuing the football. And we're going to see two more changes coming. This time for the men in red. Broadmeadow Magic will see Keanu Moore and Adam Sherritt make way. And we'll see Wilson and Ingram come on. I tell you what, to have that sort of experience to be able to call on at this point, Harry, is outstanding.
Yeah, it's incredible. Ingram, I'm assuming, will prioritise defending, but he'll also be looking to go forward as well and deliver crosses down left-hand side, and Wilson will undoubtedly going to add some composure there in the middle, start to combine with the likes of Kresner and Jose in the middle of the park.
So now Kahibah with the throw. Lane comes long down the line for Burston. Delgado steps on it. Now Kresner, Marnes. James Kresner tracking back. You know, Kresner, as soon as the club captain came on, was very quick to hand over the armband to Wilson. And they go all the way back to Axford here. Time getting away for both sides here, but it's only going to take one moment. That ball looked like it came off the arm of Turnbull. Thought the referee was going to blow his whistle, but he plays on. Everyone sort of hesitated and paused. And Hutzager travelling here, trying to put the ball in behind. Homer, he'll come away with the deflected ball from Joey Kresner, turning inside out. And so the youngsters going toe-to-toe. Back they come now to Lane. He'll feed it wide, looking for Stuart Dull. Paxek will creep forward, and that's where Dull tries to feed it, but it's deflected off the boots of Harris Zeb. Been a great battle watching these two 18-year-olds, Joey Kresner and Matt Homer, go toe-to-toe on this left-hand side of the Kahibah attack. The future of football in Newcastle and Northern New South Wales certainly looks bright, Harry.
Yeah, it is very bright, especially what we were discussing earlier about the youngsters that are coming through, and not only in those two, but across the league as well. I think there's been a massive step in youngsters stepping up this season, which is great to see.
Certainly is. Throw in the imports that are coming in, like the man just on the ball in Zeb. Laro Delgado, Marco Guili, and plenty more. And it's been outstanding. Carson Wood's been great at Western. Andrew McGee at Bell Swans as well. There's so many of them that are just stepping up, and the competition goes to another level between the local and imported talent. Even the returns of players like Jacob and James Kresner. Jackson Lane. Marnes takes it away. Lane comes pressing again. Here's Joey Kresner now. Goes to Ben Diamond. Diamond forward now to Delgado, dropping deeper. Pushing wide now, and Ingram will look for the little 1-2. He goes on that advance run that you projected, Harry, and there's a nice line for him, but the ball just a touch outside his reach, and in the end, Paxek gets back and parries it across the line for a throw-in for the Magic.
Yeah, we know Magic don't mind a bit of late drama, and I think since injecting those two substitutions, they've certainly looked more dangerous in attack, a little bit calmer with the ball and patient. They've just got to wait for that moment to arrive, whether it's a ball in behind or a moment from someone.
Here's Wilson, nice ball for Jose, but the back post, Delgado arriving just beyond. Did it feather through his hair maybe? He couldn't have been much closer. He was arriving, but not to be.
Well, Jeremy Wilson found the pocket nicely. It was Jose's cross, which was teasing. He had a couple of thoughts about whether delivering it, and the delivery was well out of the reach of Kahibah's defence.
Shuadar will make way for Ewan Kelly. We've seen Kelly have some good impact, even starting at times this Kahibah side this year. He's industrious, he'll be busy, and he'll certainly, Blair Newham will get his values worth out of Ewan Kelly throughout these final minutes. So goal kick now with Zissis. Homer going up for it against Ingram there. Turnbull sends it to the air. You can see the breeze starting to pick up. It's not all that apparent, but when the ball sits up in the air, it just drifts, which will be interesting to see if teams are going slightly more aerial in these dying exchanges. But here's Ike pushing forward. Burston. Here's Kelly making a break. Look at him tearing down the left. Burston takes a shot himself. Didn't want to entrust it to either of his wide-running men. And both of them raise their eyebrows at not being utilised, both True and Kelly. But at the end of the day, Jackson Burston's the leading scorer for a reason. He's got the ability to score from there, just didn't get it on target that time.
Yeah, well, the fresh legs of Kelly there, providing the run down the left-hand side. He probably would have been frustrated that it didn't come his way, but I think that shot there from Burston probably sums up both sides' final product here this afternoon. It's been off.
Certainly hasn't been what they would like of it. You start to wonder at what point, especially for Kahibah, do they start considering whether 1 point might be enough out of today. At this point, and knowing Blair Newham as we do, he'll be trying to push for 3, but it may get to a point where we get close to, if not in stoppage time, and it might just be, let's retreat a couple of steps here if nothing's presenting. Let's not overchance our hand and get caught on the break, because even 1 point could be so crucial for them. Following this game, Maitland will host Charlestown Azzurri, and that will be a game that will very much play into the hands of how the relegation picture structures. This one pushed up into the air by True. On to Kelly. Kelly. Ezekiel Marnes flies through over the top and just collects Kelly as he's under the ball. A little careless from the youngster for Broadmeadow. I feel that both teams are starting to get to that point where they'll have one eye on it. And you ask sometimes, Harry, in games like this, how motivated is a team like Broadmeadow in terms of pushing forward? I mean, they've been contesting this game undoubtedly, but in terms of just pushing those extra pieces, you know, really testing the endurance, the stamina, even the acceleration late in the game versus maybe just pulling it a step when you've got one eye towards not only, I guess, the playoffs here in northern New South Wales, but the Oz Championship. That said, I suppose some of these guys on the fringe very much know there's only going to be 23 spots in that Oz Championship squad.
Yeah, definitely. I still think they've shown enough to go and chase this game. I think it's in Magic's DNA, isn't it, to keep battling no matter what side they put on.
It certainly is, but as I say, it's just those extra ones when you've got to reach that little bit extra or accelerate that little bit harder as the ball comes off Turnbull's shoulder and they appeal for a handball. Now they play it forward and True's there, picking it off, and you can see that Kahibah now settling into a fairly heavy defensive block there as soon as the ball's turned over. They've got Turnbull, Kelly and True sitting in front of the back four. So I think one eye there to maybe just locking down a point is starting to be cast by Blair Newham. Billy Ike doesn't know any other way but 100 miles an hour, throwing himself at that one. Kelly now will push up. Joey Kresner down the line, and Ezekiel Marnes can't quite control it. Go over the sideline, much to the dismay of Jim Kresner. You'd think his side was the one that was being threatened with relegation with the emotion that we're seeing. We know that he's a man who, despite his very proper appearance, does live and breathe football, and how it all weighs out for him. As Wilson plays it back now for Diamond. Diamond will look ahead and nothing presents, so lays it off to Joey Kresner.
3 or 4 Magic's draws this season have come at home as well, so there was that period at the start of the year where they had back-to-back 2-2 draws. One was against Maitland and the following week against Belswan. So although they'll be looking for a winner here.
Here they come now, quickly pushing forward. Interesting thing is I don't think they've been kept scoreless this season, Magic. The ball spills dangerously now for Zissis, which could be quite something. I'll take that back against Belswans, of course. So they're 2 losses. They haven't had a 0-0 draw as Sherritt. But again, kept scoreless here at Magic Park is a whole different thing, isn't it? Very rare that happens across the last few seasons. And all the players will take an opportunity now with this stoppage, with James Kresner just getting back to his feet after taking a bit of a collision. We're getting down to the discretion of the referee very shortly. How much stoppage time we might have. Can Kahibah hang on for what would be a crucial point? There would have been moments here where they thought that 3 points were theirs for the taking. And on reflection, they certainly had their chances. I wouldn't think you'd say either side deserves 3 points at this point, but you could see arguments for when they could have taken them, Harry.
Yeah, I agree. I think A draw looks to be a fair result, but still plenty of time.
Certainly is. And we'll have some stoppage time after those couple of pieces of treatment just more recently. As Kelly's pushing lane wide here. Marnes crossed it into the box, just deflected away. Robbie Turnbull, the experienced veteran. And which side of the flag is this going to go out on? Just clips off the flag and goes for a corner. Not quite the result they would have wanted, but much better than retrieving the ball from the back of the net for the time being. Time ticking down, the last few moments of regulation time, and then it'll be, as I say, at the referee's discretion. Broadmeadow, interestingly, only 3 players in the 6-yard box. They floated up high, deep. Burston's the man there, and normally called upon to score goals. This time he's seeing it away from goals. Jose pushes it forward, feeds it in. Harris Zeb, and a boot comes in, and again it'll be a corner. Just a few inches either side, the difference between a corner and a throw at the moment, but Will Ingram the man to step up again. Both coaches animated up on their feet. They go the short corner here. Harris Zeb plays it back to Ingram. Can he float it into the box? Diamond pushing up, creating an option. Not there now. Joes floats it wide, too wide. Away it'll go. Zissis waves his players off. Leave it, he says. And we'll have a goal kick. Hearing Blair Newham channel his best, Ted Lasso. Believe in it, he says.
Yeah, well, he knows how important this point would be, especially considering that's such a tricky ground to come to, and you can see what he means. These dying stages and work so hard.
A good tackle. He's got Ike outside him. Jacob Kresner pushed the boot forward. All the coaches off their feet and at the sideline. Turnbull takes it away. Plays it through the legs. Kelly now pokes it infield. Ike out wide here for Kelly, but Jose has got absolute pace to burn. And he almost sends that into McDonald Jones Stadium with the clearance. Animation from the coaches. They're going to have to be careful they don't enter the book the way things are going.
We might not have any goals here so far this afternoon, but...
And there it is. Blair Newham will get a yellow card. And the referee's had enough of the feedback. That doesn't seem to wind him down. It's wound him up, if anything. Theatre of the biggest varieties here at Magic Park. Not of the goal scoring, as you say, Harry, but not a dull moment here. As Kahibah look for something late, and it's a corner in stoppage time. Could this be the miracle of miracles? Could they become the first side to take 3 points from Magic here at Magic Park in season 2026? It'll be a momentous occasion in their history. Not quite on the level of getting promoted, but not that far away when you think about it. They send numbers forward. Only one player outside of the 18-yard box, outside the goalkeeper. They curl it in, and it's in. Deflected off the hand. I think it'll go down as an own goal from Daniel Axford, but you would have thought they'd won the competition. The game is far from done, but they get the lead here in the dying stages, Kahibah. 1-0. It's coming direct from the corner, parried into the net from Axford, and Kahibah lead 1-0, and they celebrate like they've won the premiership. Broadmeadow look absolutely dejected, falling behind here at home.
Well, I was keeping a close eye on that bench the whole time that corner came in, and every single one of them was in a sprint action and away to the travelling fans that have been with them all season and followed this side ever since their arrival back into the top flight, and Turnbull floating in the wind. And what a moment for Kahibah.
So well placed. It was almost the perfect Olympico there, but just for the hand of Axford. And we're back underway here. Still time to play. So the job not done. Kahibah know that. Here they go now. Marnes plays it into James Kresner. James Kresner pushing down the line. He's got his brother Jacob with him. Lane gets there, clips the ball out. Ike will send it long. No, Marnes comes sliding in and takes it away. Billy Ike just reminding a few of the Magic fans of the current score. This will be a historic moment that Jacob Kresner decides to try and take the throw. It wasn't his to take. Jackson Lane will now take it. Absolutely in no hurry, unsurprisingly. They'll try and go forward. They go down the line looking for Burston. It's in behind Joey Kresner. Blair Newham appeals to the throw to go his side. That would have been some decision if that had been the way. Ben Diamond, he's going to travel. Look for the experienced players to stand up here for Magic. He'll float it forward, looking for James Kresner. Zissis parries it down and will just lay on it. What about his call up to the starting lineup? He's been outstanding today.
And a clean sheet to boost, it looks like, as well, against a side that certainly knows how to score goals.
Zissis sends it long, and the referee's whistle goes, and a number of the Kahibah players collapse to the ground. Celebrations on the Rams bench. This is a historic and significant win for the men in green, not only in terms of what it means for their season this year, but also for what it means in terms of the history of this club in their first season in the Premier League. Here in the Northern New South Wales NPL, they get their first ever win over the current champions, the defending premiers, Broadmeadow, 1-0. And what a win. And I think that'll be warmly felt by all involved and sundry at Kahibah FC.
An absolute pleasure to be a part of this game. From the first minute, you could tell the tempo at which the game was being played at. It felt like it needed a goal. At which end, we were unsure, and it was from the set piece. But what a high, intense, quality game of football on this Sunday afternoon. A massive congrats to Kahibah. But for Magic, all focus now turns to next week's home game against Charlestown, where they will lift the trophy, and then from there, finals football takes place. But what a game.
Certainly was an outstanding game. Wonderful to be able to be part of the call here for Northern New South Wales NPL. And as we say, that does now lift Kahibah up to within 1 point of Adamstown and Newcastle Olympic with games in hand. So what can they do? Can they get themselves out of the relegation playoff? It adds some real spice to the final week of the season. We can't wait, and you'll be able to catch it all live and free here on the Northern New South Wales YouTube. On behalf of myself, Chris McPherson, and Harry Scobie, big thank you for tuning in. Congratulations, Kahibah FC, running out winners in round 21, NPL Northern New South Wales, 1-0 over Broadmeadow Magic.